like to wish you good luck, good bowling. Let's shake hands, gentlemen. You're up to bowl first.
So can the Swede get his team off to a flying start here? He's played a couple of doubles matches in the Weber Cup so far. Lost with his good mate Tora Torgerson, and then won with Phil Scammell, but here he is in single combat for the first time, and not the best start at all, missing the head pin.
Oh, that's a very unusual leave. That ball is cut right between the 1 and the 6 pin and taken the 3 pin out, and that's what we'd call a washout. It's a very horrible split indeed. That's not easy to do, to get a ball to go between 2 pins like that and just take the middle one out. It needs to be deadly accurate to make this spare, and it's not the start that he wants.
Oh, boy, did he dig that one out.
Well, there you go. Got himself out of trouble. Get out of jail free card, that was. A really bad first shot, but made amends on the spare.
I was just about to say, well, if you're going to get an open frame, get it out of the way early, and then Thomas said, I'm not going to have an open frame, I'm getting rid of that.
Interesting that he bounced the ball across from the 1 pin to the 6 pin.
So here's big Tony Manna, looking to jump into the early lead. It's straight in the pocket, but the 10 pin wouldn't go down for him.
God, that was a really a hard 10. Fantastic shot, lots of rotation, and the power is just unbelievable.
Not much you'd change about this ball, is there?
No, it's right up into the pocket, right in the 1-3 pocket, and it's almost unbelievable how that 10 pin stands there. He's going to have to straighten his shot out now, cut down on the hook.
He did miss this in an earlier match as well. Not this time.
Straight as an arrow.
He made that mistake against Tora Torgerson and would not get away with it again, not against Tomas Leandersson. So they both open up with a spare. So that 5 count on the first ball actually won't now come and hurt Tomas Leandersson at all.
No, it means nothing at all. Absolutely nothing. It's as good as a 9 spare. This is the bonus ball, which counts and will count back onto the spare. They've both tested the water a little bit. Now let play begin.
That's in the pocket, and there's the result.
A much better shot from Thomas, yes. A bit straighter down the lane. Not so much hook. Right in the 1-3 pocket. Definitely a different line he's playing there. A lot straighter. Got the result he wanted.
Well, he didn't get the break last time. Tony Manna, nothing wrong with his pocket shot at all. Can he get a bit of good fortune this time? And it goes the other way now, with the 7 standing up. And Lady Luck is frowning on this fella at the moment.
It really was a fabulous shot. Nice high back swing, lots of power. Beautiful balance and follow through. There's nothing wrong with this at all, and that 5 pin just does not take that 7 pin out, which is outrageously, really.
He's played 2 really good shots, Tony Manna. Hasn't got the breaks. I guess the worst thing you can do now is feel sorry for yourself. You've just got to stay with it and hope that the luck balances out. And he's kept his bowling together enough to just clean up a simple spare, but he's not getting the breaks.
Well, he's blasted the pocket. He just hasn't had the pin action, and without pin action, you're not going to get the strikes. So Thomas, coming up for Team Europe, working on a strike. We'll be looking for the double. Lining himself up. He'll be looking down the lane at the mark that he wants to hit. And hoping he can send that ball straight through that mark. Looking good.
It certainly did.
Can't be any better than that.
Double for Tomas Leandersson, putting the pressure on Tony Manna.
Really big shot from Thomas. This was a double in frames 2 and 3, right in the pocket. Those pins stood no chance.
Now Tony Manna is saying to himself, well, it's overdue, just give me the strike please. I don't care how it comes, let's have the strike. In the pocket again. It was just the same as the other 2. This time he does get the result.
Makes you wonder why those corner pins don't go down. It's all to do with the angle of the entry into the pocket, the speed, the pace and the rotation.
I mean, the good news for Manna is his line is spot on, isn't it? There's nothing you'd want to adjust on that line at all.
You're quite right, Nick. He's absolutely perfect. It was just amazing that those corner pins didn't go down.
Well,
it was a very light pocket hit. Very nice on the head pin. He's left the 4 pins now. I suppose he's going to be happy with that because it's a spareable spare. It's nothing awkward. He was looking for the strike, obviously, but as you say, Nick, that short delay may well have affected his game.
Yeah, a little frown there.
A spare here will give him a 10-pin lead.
Safely done. But Manna will know that a strike here can keep him in touching distance of the European skipper, which is all he can really want at the moment.
Yeah, that's true. It's just got to stay in touch for the first few frames, and as the game goes on, then he'll be looking to extend his game and get some more strikes. See how far left he is in that.
Oh, very late hook he got on that.
Yeah, it just doesn't quite come back enough, and he's a bit annoyed about that. Left himself a single 2-pin.
Don't think he can point the finger at Lady Luck this time, can he?
No, but he's covering some balls. That ball really is travelling some distance. Didn't quite make it to the pocket, unfortunately. Should be a straightforward spare. He'll straighten the shot out.
How often do we say that? Should be a straightforward spare. Well, it was.
A 10-pin lead for Team Europe.
Still waiting for either man to catch fire. They're both bowling well, but you don't get the feeling that either of them is quite the governor out there at the moment.
It appears to me, Nick, that they're sort of slow bowling each other, taking their time, which may distract the opponent. Thomas has managed to get another strike in frame 5, but as I say, they're not rushing themselves.
Well, that's the key, isn't it? In any sport, do it at your pace if you possibly can.
Plenty of pin action there for Thomas.
The big fella needs to match him. No, a bit light on the head pin, and he just clipped it away as well.
Hit him thin and didn't quite make him spin. It's nasty little leaf he's left there.
Low pin count as well on that spare.
Yeah, it's a 2-4-5. It's quite spareable. He needs to straighten his shot out and hit the middle pin of those 3. Certainly not what he wanted. He was looking for the strike.
Oh, we made that look easy.
Yeah, happy with that.
So he just keeps in touch, Tony Manna, but it's the Team Europe captain Tomas Leandersson with the advantage at the midway point. So here is Tomas Leandersson, Team Europe captain. His team down by 2 points. Twice a losing Weber Cup captain. Is this going to be his year? Well, he's certainly leading by example here, leading from the front with a 23-pin advantage at halfway against Tony Manna. This job not over yet, but if he carries on striking like that, it will be soon.
It was a bit of a bonus there because it wasn't right in the pocket, but he's got the strike, and fortunately for Europe, it was a double. 2 strikes in a row. See, it's a very light, hit him thin, make him spin type of shot. Gets the action off the kickback, the side wall of the lane, takes all those pins away.
And that is the key to the big score, isn't it? It's no point spreading your strikes out throughout the 10 frames. Bunch them together. That's when the thing really starts to clock up. Manna will take a strike any which way at the moment. And he's a bit heavy on the head pin and probably a little bit fortunate to get away with that.
Yeah, as you say, Nick, it was very heavy on the head pin. The ball broke a little bit early for him. And, he's lucky to leave that single pin. Does have a very nice style though, I must admit. That 7 pin in the corner is a bit elusive. Again, we say he's going to hopefully straighten his shot out here. Won't put so much rotation on the ball and cuts down the chance of error.
Yeah, he's done it again. He's spared well, but the bottom line for Tony is 6 frames, 1 strike.
Yes, and that unfortunately is not enough. At this level of the game, you need to be stringing 2 or 3 strikes together on a reasonably regular basis. Tomas has hit 4, and he's 6 frames and holds quite a nice little lead now.
Well, Turkey here will just restore that edge a little bit further as well. 3 in a row coming up for Tomas Leandersson.
Yeah, he's going to be pleased because he is striking quite nicely now, and he's actually getting locked quite in.
Well, there we go again.
Did I speak too soon?
It's extraordinary, Cass. You have this hex on these players. I don't know how you do it.
That's the 1, 2, 4 and the 10 pin washout that he's left there, and it's unexplainable. How does he do it? I mean, he's so locked into that strike pocket, and he's misses the head pin on the right hand side. Unbelievable.
Well, last time he was in this position was frame 1, and he got a very difficult 5 down. This one's just as tough, but he doesn't do it. The 10 left open. Tony Manna thrown a lifeline. But I mean, in all honesty, Cash, you were so right. He was looking so smooth and in control there, and then suddenly disaster strikes. Now, the deal for Tony Manna is your opponent's just left an open frame. You have got to strike.
Yep, jump on him hard.
Like that. And Tony Manna is right back in this thing.
Yeah, excellent shot from Tony. Right in the 1-3 pocket. No messing around. He's doing the business. Of course, that puts pressure back on Tomas now. Although he has got the lead, but he needs to get back on his strike line.
Well, he's had 2 bad frames cast. The first one didn't hurt him, and he got out of it well. But that last one really was expensive.
Yeah, it's amazing where they come from, sort of right out of the blue.
He was coasting along with a 30-pin advantage, and here he is suddenly. He's going to start digging in, and the strikes seem to have dried up.
Yeah, not a bad shot. He was really back on his strike line there. The ball rode up a little bit high on the head pin, and of course left the 4 pin. Fortunately, it's quite an easy spare for Tomas. He'll move to the right-hand side of the approach, straighten his shot out, and hopefully take it away.
Safely done, but Tony Manna's just been given a sighting of the winning post here.
Well, that's right. Yeah, we're in frame 8. Tony's working on a strike now. If he can get a double here, he's going to put his toes in front. This is the big ball of the game for Tony. That turning point in the game that we always talk about. Let's see what he's made of.
Oh yes. Well, don't give this man too many chances.
The phrase in there like swimwear comes to mind, Nick, but that was a valuable double, it really was, and come frame 9, Tony's going to be in front.
Yeah, it's a remarkable turnaround. What a difference one open frame can make.
Yeah, that really was a good double, that last shot there. And of course, Tomas is only working on a spare, so he's a bit limited as to what he can do. Needs to make it.
Oh yes. Manna hasn't got this thing wrapped up yet. The 9th frame, the foundation frame, and Tomas Leandersson has given himself a foundation for a strong finish. But can Tony Manna match him?
Yeah, beautiful response there from Tomas. Got himself a strike, exactly when he needed it. But the onus is very much on Tony here. He's working on a double into the foundation frame, which is frame 9. This shot could bury the match.
Well. Hasn't he grabbed the opportunity? It's another impressive display from Tony Manna, who shrugged off the disappointment of two terrific first balls that both ended up in spares when they deserved so much better. Kept his game together. As we take a look at the contrasting styles.
It's the power shot from Tony Manna and the smooth follow through of Tomas Leandersson. It's quite a contrast, yeah. And this is so important for Thomas now.
Well, it's got to be a strike, isn't it?
Frame 10.
And that, I think, is good night for Tomas Leandersson.
Good night, Vienna, for Europe. That's a 4-9 split off of a ball that was almost right in the pocket. It was almost too good. Slightly high in the head pin, didn't trip the 4 out and cut through too hard to take the 9. And that may well be an open frame.
Well, he almost got the slide, didn't he? But
That is so unfortunate. Deserved the spare there, but unfortunately it's an open frame, which I'm afraid is going to give Tony the victory.
and if Thomas is also honest with himself, he'll admit that open frame was totally down to him. There was no luck there. Just a bad first ball, and it transformed the fortunes of this match. Tony Manna was clinging on for dear life. Suddenly he had that lifeline thrown to him and he grabbed it. And this is sweet revenge indeed for last year.
Nick, the game's actually over. Tony doesn't even have to spare this single pin to win the game.
Yes, no 269 this year for Tomas Leandersson. Tony Manna has extracted his revenge. Well, this will feel good in the Team USA camp. I'm guessing Tim Mack, the Team USA skipper, would have fancied Leandersson here with the pressure on. Instead, Tony Manna, a very capable bowler indeed, has beaten Team Europe's captain. And now there is real daylight between the two teams here. Tony Manna, very impressive in victory, 214 to Tomas Leandersson's 191. More significantly, it means there is real daylight now between USA and Europe. It's USA with 7 points, Europe with 4.